On this episode of Halftone Takes, we talk about playground rumors, talk sugar about Three Ninjas, High Noonet Mega Mountain. I can't stop talking about stormtroopers. And did you watch this?
Did you? Did you really watch this?
It's hard for me to believe that you actually watched it.
Did you watch it from start to finish? Did you watch the credits too?
Yeah, did you watch the end? I don't know.
Welcome to Halftone Takes, high contrast conversations where we zoom out to see the bigger picture. I am one half of the host, Corey Revis, aka the artist formerly known as Diet Soda.
Ooh. Hello, I'm Adam Bucherri, your friend's uncle who worked at Nintendo. I'm the one who broke the story that behind the St. Anne there's a truck, and underneath it is Mewtwo. I promise it's definitely there. You're not going to waste just like fucking hours of your time.
Yes.
It's all real. It's all real.
It's all real. That's what I was about to say,
real.
actually. This is completely legit.
Yeah. For real, though, I love like that like playground rumor quality to like some secrets and unlockables. Like Dark Souls, like obviously is like the modern quintessential example of like the playground rumor effect. That's in game
too. That's in game too. Like people will leave. Oh, jump off this cliff. There's a secret down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many upvotes does this have? Oh, okay.
Well, it's just how many blood stains around here?
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I was.
Yeah, but once in a blue moon, you go up to that cliff, you tilt the camera
and then you
down.
Get something.
Oh shit. There is something there.
Usually, if there's a lot of people saying down, like or using like a down gesture, and they're like, "No, there's seriously something down there," and I'm like, "All right." So I make sure I have like this is specifically Elden Ring. I make sure I have like a little thing so I don't waste I don't lose all my runes, and then I jump down there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
I am a seasoned Souls veteran who has been playing since Dark Souls came to PC in 2011. And
boo!
Boo!
Where's your janky play? Where's your janky gameplay?
What, you didn't import Demon Souls from Japan? You fucking idiot!
Yeah, I know.
But like over a decade later, I am playing Elden Ring, and I saw a try jumping, and I was just like, okay, and I jumped off a cliff to my death, and I was like, why did my brain think that would work?
Because after a while you forget.
I know.
It's something in it. After a while you just forget. It's like people aren't that mean, are they? Nobody falls for this still. I think the whole thing is, who still falls for this? So it has to be true, right?
I think it was also that I had been playing a lot of Sekiro, and Sekiro basically doesn't have those like little tricksy messages, and so I was just like, oh, sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Sekiro was the one that plays it straight. They're like, no, we have a story, and this is how it is.
Yeah. Here's a boring story about a precocious child and a nationalist shithead, and I'm not that. I don't care about dirt. You can't touch my heart by trying to persuade me that the dirt is important. I don't like nationalist stories. Doesn't do it.
Now you know the heart of Adam right now, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know Adam's heart, and you can't sway him from from playing those types of games.
Genichiro, good boss fight, dumb character, don't like him. Although the best thing that I saw that came out of my recent Sekiro replay, which I still have very mixed feelings about the game, but just like an image caption of Sword Saint Ishin, minor spoiler alert for the end of it, and it's just like, did you really think that I wouldn't crawl out of my grandson's neck with a gun?
That's actually really funny.
Stupid.
It's almost as fun. Well, it's almost as funny as like just the whole meme surrounding that game and like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I don't know why. I don't know why somebody just thought, no, this is seriously a good idea to put all the characters in the game.
We should mod Sekiro to be CJ for sure. And then Genichiro should be Big Smoke, no doubt.
Yeah. No, and it works. I mean, I've watched somebody play like most of the game. And I was like, what?
Real weird.
Why? But at the same time, why not? It's good. It's good.
But anyways, like, yeah, like I was gonna say, like, I love those playground rumor, like, weird things where it's like, no, that's not a thing. Most recently come to mind with the Resident Evil 4 remake demo, where if you discard all of your weapons, including your guns, and you go into the village fight, then a well will be unlocked, and you can go down there, and there's the TMP, and then you can just have the submachine gun unlocked for all future runs. And it sounds fake as hell, but it rules.
But it actually is a thing. And I was too scared to do it, so I didn't do it.
It's good. It's good. I love playground rumors. I love like that feeling of like obscure bullshit in games where it's like, no, that's not a thing.
Well, I think games specifically have something important that a lot of other media doesn't, where it's replayability. So,
sure,
you can actually go and do it right now if somebody tells you there's something that's going on, and you could choose not to do it. That's the thing. It's one of those weird game-isms, I guess, where it's like, oh yeah, I know that's a thing, and then it's like almost almost an underground thing of Now, mind you, that can go into territory of what you don't know about this idiot.
Yeah, no,
situation.
I don't want that.
Yeah, and nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that. But it is fun when little things like that happen. In jokes for
you can do it in other mediums. So like the Netflix The Haunting of Hill House comes to mind, where it's just like, bro, there's like so many ghosts in the background just constantly, and you're just like, what? And then you watch a YouTube compilation of it, and I'm like, oh shit, they're fucking ghosts.
Really? I've never seen that. But that's really cool though.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's a good Easter egg. But like I agree that like the interactivity of video games like makes them the most interesting version of that. Yeah. So that was my type 5 on how much I love those kind of like weird bonuses. Now on to the real show. Hey, Corey, what are we talking about?
Okay. We are talking about something very interesting that I know you'll be interested in, but it's been on my mind lately because of some recent like things that came out and all that kind of stuff. But intentionality of the artist. And vice versa. Intentionality of the artist to the audience. Hold on a second. Look, for some reason I got this wrong. I said it specifically. What did I say to you? I said
you said like what the responsibility.
Artist... Yeah, the responsibilities of the artist to the audience and vice versa. That's what I meant to say. You don't have to cut that if you don't want to.
Maybe I don't. But no, I think that this is a great conversation, and unfortunately in the age of the internet, it's like forever relevant. Like we're just there's an endless campaign of entitled fans who think that they owe things to themselves, who think that they have more ownership over media than the people who create the media. There are companies who are just obsessed with pandering to fans, and
and to be fair with those, it's like I know this for a fact that some of these companies and stuff are like, if we don't pander, if we don't know about this crowd, so how do we market to this crowd? So just give them what they want. And they'll like it because they'll think we're cool, and okay, this should work, I guess.
But I think the question is also just like has more insidious connotations and is wider ranging than like even that. Like there are ways that like the intersection between creators and fans can turn very dark.
Oh yeah. Well, we know that very like there's a lot of recent stuff that's happened where it's just like, ugh, I don't really like how this played out.
Totally. And we've touched on this in like the fandom episode already. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to dive into this topic, and I think that.
But we haven't actually gone into on the artist side either. So, Well, it's a lot of that when in the fandom episode was coming at it from a fan,
Yeah.
and basically just being as fans of things and saying like to other fans, be nice. But now we're, on the other side of the coin and saying, okay, how as artists, because this is something you have to legitimately think about, and that's why I was wanting to pose this topic, is, okay, how does this even work? Like, I don't want to sound pandering to people, but at the same time, this is what it's about, and if you guys don't, and I want you guys to like me, I want you guys to like this, what do I do? And as hard as it is, because this is what I was thinking, and this is why I wanted to talk to you and ask you this question, because as a rare occurrence, I really don't have too much of a structure to this, like a 3-part structure anyway. Because I'm not necessarily sure where this conversation is going to necessarily go. But one thing I always was thinking about was the idea of like an artist coming out with something and then having to think, okay, because the obvious answer is just let your work speak for itself. I'm like, what if you don't like, but that leads to a lot of insecurities, unless you are some cool guy who's like, no, I got none. I am 100% confident with what I made, and if nobody else likes it, who cares? But then even that goes into the, the whole idea of you have a responsibility as an artist type thing, and because, how should we as an audience feel about people that do that and say, if you don't like it, then you must be an idiot, like, because this is high art. How many times have you seen people do that? And it's a very
real
weird
talk. I have heard people complain about hoity-toity high art nonsense way more than I have heard high art being pushed, like way more.
I mean, to a certain extent I can see that, but I can understand that, but continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the question of... See, again, this is, like, just, like, all of these topics are the same topic, like, ultimately. We're it's the metaphor of, like, the blind people touching the elephant, and they're just like, oh, this part is, like a leathery towel. And it's like, no, this part is, like, a big rubbery hose. And it's like, oh, this part is, like a solid brick wall. And we're all touching the same thing, but we're describing different aspects of it. And, this also has huge connections with the intersection of marketing. What's your responsibility as a creator to your audience is one question, but what's your responsibility to people who are working for you? Like, want to, if you're an employer, you want to be able to pay your employees. You want to make sure that artists are able to live and continue working and continue doing this stuff. Fandoms we've already talked about, like parasocial relationships, like it's all tangled up.
That sounds like the industry to me.
I know. But like to let's get specific and talk about, like, I'm an artist and I make something popular and fans are, wanting their say, basically. They have a voice and they want to be heard. How much responsibility do I have as a creator to listen to them, and how much weight should I put on that? And I mean, it's a difficult question. I don't think that there's a straightforward answer to it. What comes to mind is George R. Martin, where he wrote many Game of Thrones books and then stopped writing them. And I mean, the weight has become so onerous that, like, it's a Half-Life 3 situation at this point. It's practically vaporware, where people, I think, really rightfully are abandoning it and just being like, it's never going to get finished, so it's not worth me continuing to be invested in it. But does that mean that George Martin owes fans an apology. Does that mean he owes anyone anything? Like, he's a creative person and he's pursuing the things that he wants to do. He's doing a lot of creative projects. He's busy. He's just not busy finishing
doing
those
what
books
you want.
he's just not doing the thing that you want him to do.
Doing what you want. Like, I see a lot of artists do this. Like, I want them to finish this. Well, they're too busy doing that over there, and they're enjoying themselves. And but I don't care about that. I care about this. He needs to finish this type thing.
Yeah, and I get it. I understand being a fan and wanting to do that. You know, I've been a Metroid fan, and like the wait between Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Dread was enormous and filled with absolute garbage disappointment. Like, brutal stuff. But am I owed another Metroid? Is there a responsibility for this company to put out more entries in a franchise, which, like, frankly is fairly niche? It doesn't have amazing sales. And, like, to me, the answer is no. Like, I feel like the artist has a responsibility less to, like, fan demands and, like, catering to what they want, but I think they do have a very real responsibility about making sure that their art is not being used for malicious purposes. Which,
yes,
you know, what comes to mind immediately is The Matrix, where the Wachowskis wrote a story which is, like, basically a trans allegory. Like, it's lots of documentation that's the text. It's not subtext. It's not me reading into it. Like,
it's very much known at this point.
Yeah. But, you know, shitheads co-opting the red pill in order to use it for hateful garbage. Like, I think that the Wachowskis do have a responsibility to speak out against that, which they do. And, like, a
lot.
Yeah. And I appreciate them being vocal about that. I mean, for me, you know, I make my tabletop games, and inspired by some other people in the tabletop community. Like, my game opens with basically a list of saying, like, if you are a bigot, you are not allowed to play this game. If you are, you know, using this to hurt someone, if you are using this to express power over others, you are not allowed to play this game. And I know that I don't have any power to enforce that. I'm not there at the table. I can't cause anyone to do that. But I hope that I can give players who are put into an uncomfortable position a place to explicitly point to the rules and say, this is against the spirit of the game. This is against the intentions of the creator. And I hope that is able to, even in just the smallest possible way, deter bad behavior, or at the very least, get someone who reads it and go, this is woke bullshit. Great, fantastic. They're not going to play my game. Love it. I don't want your money. Please leave.
Yeah. Well, I think you underestimate the power. Well, I'm saying this, you probably don't. But you just saying that sets a precedent, in my opinion. You, as the artist, as the creator, have spoken about, you put it out on the table. Mm-hmm. This is the intent of the game, and my intent of the game. You all know now that I don't put up with this shit. So, you can't come at me and say, they're, like you said, this is some woke nonsense and stuff like that. One, you don't know what that means, so stop using that word.
I'm so mad about it. Never stop being mad.
2, good. Because, yes, in your frame of reference, yes, this is woke. This is progressive. This is what it should be, because this is what gaming is. This is what gaming has always been. It's just that you tend to not like this. But here's the thing. You are allowed to. Just go off and do your own thing. Or what have you. But you ain't coming in here, not without adhering to these rules. So, that's on you. That ain't on me. We already have people in here that are doing their thing. They know the rules, and they're loving it. They're like, wow, this is a safe space. I can't believe this. And yet I can, because there's a lot of stuff that people are There are creatives out there that have many safe spaces, but this is one that I actually like. So, this is one that I chose. Basically, I chose to step in to this world, as anybody has a choice to. So that is, to me, that's the responsibility of the audience to the artist. You are choosing to interact with people's content and people's creative stuff and everything. Now, look, it's always going to be your choice. It's like you can choose to interact, you can choose to step away.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We as fans and as other audience members need to realize that sometimes people are going to step away, but for the reasons that we don't like, or the reasons that we don't think are cool or whatnot, but they're still allowed to. It's still their choice because we have the same choice. So, because that's one thing that I also think that is kind of weird when it comes to people. Well, certain people, I should say, is obviously this is the internet, and the internet is weird. But, I've seen some people on the internet, and they exist still and whatnot, but they're like, oh, you don't like this because of this reason? No, that's dumb. Or if you like this because you should like this franchise because of this reason and this reason and this reason. Not because it looks cool. That's so basic. You need to get on your filmmaking shit and learn the fundamentals, bro, and then you can come back and talk to me why you like this movie. Otherwise, you don't really like this movie, right? I'm like, I've seen that. This is why I don't mess with certain YouTube people that do
for sure
film analysis and stuff, because I'm like, it seems a little bit talking down to-y a little bit to me. And I'm like, you can enjoy stuff because you enjoy stuff. I enjoy many different things I enjoy things that are Oscar winning in the same way I enjoy things that are schlock.
Or in the case of Everything Everywhere, I enjoy Oscar winning schlock.
Both.
Absolutely primo shit.
Yep, and that is hard to do because that is like a rarity. That doesn't happen all the time. It does happen,
very rare.
But not all the time. That is like we talked about beforehand at some point. I don't know if we talked about it on mic or not, but that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, is kind of a rare gem. It's like a generation-defining movie. That doesn't get made a lot at all.
No, it's extremely
rare. And I say this all the time, it sets a precedent. Because now, creatives, I love this because it gives me confidence, because I'm not probably going to make something like that, but that means I can make my own thing.
Totally.
I can do it.
This is another side of the same Spider-Verse argument that I've been having for a year, which is legitimizing a different kind of entertainment, letting it be something that is popular, that makes money, that gets recognized, gives permission to other creatives to get weirder. To push the envelope to be more bold.
To push it. In any direction you want. Yeah, in any direction you want. That's the biggest thing to me, is because a lot of people, and I had conversations with a couple people that have seen that movie, and they're like, oh, now everything's going to be this way. And I'm like, believe me, I get it. I initially had that spark idea in my head when I first saw this, and the popularity blew up, and I'm like, great, now everybody's gonna do this type of thing. And I'm like, yes, I get that, but we can't think that way. What you really need to think about is the diversity of this, because now this has multiple levels of diversity in it, which is really good. But the big thing, in my opinion, to take away from this is that means that as much as people thought that this was not going to go anywhere and this was just going to be so niche that it was going to be buried. Yeah. It's going to be it could still be a really good movie, but it would be buried. And yet, somehow, it ended up being popular with people that never would even have touched this. otherwise.
Totally.
So to me, I'm like, okay, that means that my ideas and whatnot that could be very well completely opposite of this can still do that. And to me,
Totally.
and that's not just me, but that's everyone. That's your stuff. That's, the person
Yeah.
on the street stuff.
It liberates everyone.
Yes, exactly. And it elevates everybody because it's like, no, if you just find the right thing that you want to tell and you do it to the best of your ability, your way. We're not talking about, these guys aren't like seasoned veterans or something like Scorsese. No, they're just guys that were like, we're music video guys. Like Michael Bay used to be. And we just made something that would be cool for us. And it ended up being cool for everyone. And we actually told I think the biggest thing is they actually told a legitimate story. A legitimate, heartfelt story. And you know what else? And this is part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I have two. There's two franchises / trilogies that I usually always go back to in terms of, they seem really opposite in terms of tone, but somehow this is like a big thing of audience versus artist versus back and forth, is the Kung Fu Panda trilogy.
Okay.
And the Planet of the Apes trilogy. The new one? Yeah. So
I have only seen the first movie in both of those trilogies.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Wow, really? You've never seen Kung Fu Panda 2, which is decidedly the best one?
No, I haven't. I know people love those movies, and actually, I briefly had an animation teacher who worked on Kung Fu Panda 2 or 3, and he talked about how delightful it was to just work on that project. So,
wait, is this somebody I would know?
No, this was when I was in Los Angeles. Like, I briefly took a class at the Gnomon Workshop.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Nice dude, guy whose name I forgot.
Oh,
it was like a decade ago.
Yeah, that is like a decade ago. Jeez, we are getting old. We are considered boomers to the young generation now. So,
boomers the mindset, man.
We're boomer.
No.
Well, no, those are called Zoomers. The young kids that have boomer mindsets are Zoomers. That's what I found out. Then that's
not true.
No,
Gen
I'm dead
Z
serious.
Is Zoomers. No.
No, yeah, Gen Z.
We're not gonna debate this. Yeah, but not. It's not a young person with a boomer mindset. That's just a general Gen Z slang.
Yeah, that's just a Gen Z. It's specifically from Gen Z.
Yeah, they're all referencing Max from Stranger Things Season 2's great bit about making a skateboard-themed Dungeons & Dragons class. Woo! That was a walk.
What? That's what I immediately thought.
Shout out to the one person who thought that was a good bit.
Like, comments, and subscribe if you did.
Ring that notification bell, bitch!
Or we'll kill you.
Or we'll fucking kill you.
That is not my bit, by the way. That is a Game Grumps reference. For anybody who follows them. But anyway, that's what I wanted to get into in a little bit. But what were you going to say?
I wanted to just say, specifically with Everything Everywhere, winning huge at the Oscars, that was like such a delightful refutation of, this might be a deep cut, but I'm pretty sure that you've seen it, the music video. And I recommend everyone to, if you haven't seen this music video, look it up. It's a great fucking music video. Dumbfounded Safe, which is...
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, so he's a Asian rapper, and he is singing a song, and in the background, like, the music video is footage of famous movies with his face spliced onto the main characters. But the
opening, I have seen this.
It's great. It's awesome. But like the opening line of the song is I watched the Oscars the other night, and all the yellow men were all statues, and it's just like, damn, fuck, like, and it's like arguing for, you know, Asian representation and being pissed about it, like being fed up with consistent systemic rejection, and just like the Oscars coming in, Michelle Yeoh winning.
Oh man, and about time. Like that was about time. She's a seasoned veteran, and I know there are thousands of seasoned veterans out there that still haven't won their golden statue, but seriously, she's been in hit after hit after hit over the past couple of years, and I'm like, she's been working for decades and doing great work. And then, forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Ke Huy Quan, as Waymond also. Yeah, I know
also
what you're talking about. Yeah,
like Waymond, like not only is it an amazing comeback story, but like Waymond is such a hero that we need right now. Like, what an incredible character. I don't want to get into this. This would be in an hour of me praising the best character in that movie. It's so
Let's
good.
not even.
I know. But like, I feel dumbfounded. I know you listen to this podcast.
If you do, please.
I hope that
boost our ratings.
I hope that you are happy right now, because I am thrilled. I hope that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it feels good when
I bet the Genius Brain podcast is like lost their minds in that episode. Like, great for them too.
Here's the thing: is they went on a rant. I love this because they went on a rant because guess what other multiverse movie came out at around the same time?
Doctor Strange.
And they went hard in on that movie. Mm-hmm. Which, to be fair, it does deserve it a little bit because I love Doctor Strange, and even I was like, but they went hard on that movie, and then they immediately said, you know what is a better one?
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Not only is there a whole bunch of Asians in this movie, which we love anyway, but it's a better movie overall.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But to me, I mean, a lot of people really shit on Marvel as of late. And to be fair, Marvel kind of deserves it because Marvel, you are slipping because you are not putting in the work that you used to. So get on your game again.
Yeah.
People need to challenge you. Competition is good.
They're steering the ship a little bit by just paring back the sheer volume, which is good. But like, come on, guys. You're better than this.
And that's the thing is they are better than this. And then they're being lazy with it. They're getting lazy. And, you know, it'll be fine. It'll work itself out, though.
Yeah.
I think so, because eventually when they lose enough money, they'll be like, wait.
Yeah, they'll make something...
What's going on?
They'll make something small and scrappy and, like, remember what makes it good. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it'll happen. At the very least, Guardians 3, I feel pretty good about. Anyways, but back on topic. You had other points. Yeah, that was my digression. So,
oh no, that's fine. But what I was gonna actually kind of lead in. I mean, not lead into, but say that I feel for that in terms of the Asian community. Mm-hmm. Because obviously I'm not a part of the Asian community, but I am a part of another community that has recently started getting stuff too, and I'm like, oh my goodness, finally! It took them how many years?
Yeah.
For us to get here, and then like I see the Asian community getting theirs basically, and not only that, but they are excited about it. It's not like, oh, we don't know these. It's not represented very well in like movies. Now I'm starting to see so many Asian projects, and I'm talking like out of nowhere. Comedies. Yeah. Regular ass comedies that just star mostly Asians in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, shit. Okay, I think we're here. Diversity is only a good thing. Not only and a lot of people are very short-sighted in my opinion. Because they think, oh, now everything's gonna be this. And to a certain extent I can understand that, but that's like maybe 10%. 90% of me is like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Believe me, that's not what's going to happen. white people are not going to disappear from the movies. Stop it.
Like, it's genuinely beneath consideration, and it's not worthy of a response. It's buffoonish on its face and malicious in its intent, and I will not truck with it. So,
jeez.
Sorry.
You heard it here, folks. The words came out, and that's what you get.
Yeah. So, to anyone who thinks that, shut up and stop listening to this podcast. Leave. I don't want you.
Give me more of the of thesaurus, Adam. Give me more words for shut up. Come on, let me hear.
Seal thy tongue. But yeah,
it's
no. We're having a great moment
I
for a lot of stuff, and not just like also South Asian. Like we're getting a lot more Indian representation. Bollywood.
Let's
talk
about RRR, please.
Oh, we've got it downloaded.
Let's shout it from the
gonna
rooftop.
watch it. I know people are loving it.
I've seen a good chunk of it. I've had some issues, and I don't want to talk about it on.
Yeah. But also like Kumail Nanjiani is like really like leading the pack for Pakistan. I'm a huge fan.
Not only that, but he's doing other things that are cool.
We just watched Welcome to Chippensdale's, and like it's
exactly that's what I was thinking about.
It's messy in the way that like all based on a true story things are messy.
Yeah.
But I don't hold that against it. He's great. I fucking love Kumail. Like put him in anything. Give me Kumail.
Well, the people are starting to be like, oh wow, all these people that aren't white or men, like they can make money too.
And that's the thing, bankability.
Now that's and that I know that's a dangerous thing to go into because of course then we get into the pandering aspect of
which
the industry.
Almost like it happens so much rarer than people claim it does.
Oh really? Well, I mean, it happens a lot, but I don't think it happens all the time. But I know it happens a lot.
Like
do people honestly think that it happens like 99.9% of the time?
Yeah. Look, again those same bad faith shitheads feel like any time that a non-white straight dude is on screen.
Oh, there's an agenda.
But that there's an agenda, and it's just like no,
really?
like look. I can't hold water for every bad opinion that exists. Every bad opinion exists. Like, yeah, I just
don't know how many of those bad opinions come from like a big well of.
People complaining about forced diversity are almost always wrong, and people
that do that, I'm like, guys, don't do this.
No.
Please don't do this. Let's sit down and think about stuff that you're saying, because then I'm one of those people that I'm like, I'd rather you tell the truth about how you really feel than give me some roundabout beat around the bush thing.
Oh yeah.
So forced diversity. Are you worried about certain things in the industry, or are you just a racist bastard?
Yeah.
Please tell me, because when you tell me that, then I will work with you, or I will be like, okay, all right, buddy. I am not your therapist, so you need to go to therapy for all that shit that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. But I ain't gonna deal with that, okay?
So I'm gonna grab the reins of this episode and wrench it back on topic. Yes. But like talking about this kind of thing, like this, there is an element of like, hey, is there a responsibility of creators to have a diverse cast? Is there a responsibility to represent marginalized people in a good light? Is there a responsibility
at all times
to like be socially conscious and make sure that you're mindful of the message that your media is sending? And it's hard to say, and again, there's no straightforward answers. It's not clear cut, but like, I'm kind of leaning, like, as far as like diversity of cast, unless there's a really excellent reason not to, which there rarely is. Yeah, like why not just why narrow yourself down? Like that's the question. It's not about like the necessity of representation. It's certainly not about hitting a quota or making sure that X population, whatever. But it is like, hey, I don't know. There's a lot of actors out there. Have you considered some of them? Like, maybe think about if this role is not specifically about a specific gender, about a specific race, about a specific place and time where this is important and relevant. If it doesn't matter, like, open it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it's about. It's just like, the bad faith shithead argument is just like, oh, they shouldn't do diversity hires. They should hire the best person for the job. But spoiler alert, those people are saying that only white people can be the best person for the job.
Default, it's a default option.
Yeah.
And usually people that are used to default will always resort to that. And I'm like, guess what my default is, guys?
Yeah. So like,
everybody has a default if you're coming from certain areas. So one, that just means that there is no default. There may be a systematic default, but that's a problem.
Yeah, that's cultural.
That's not a good thing.
Not. Yeah. It's not real. It's not. It's made up.
Yeah. Yeah. By people in power. But let's not go. Let's be a little bit more of the. Let's bring this around to a more positive light of how do we think this is done correctly? I think that is a very interesting bullet point that we can go into, because the more you think, the more you're talking, the more I'm like, oh man, yeah, how can I do this without sounding like a douchebag?
Yeah,
like if I was in the industry, how would I? Because I do want to hire the best people for the job, but I also want to be diverse. But I also don't have a lot of time, so I can't interview every actor in the entire world that is in every culture that has good actors and bad actors everywhere. So, and I think this also, in my opinion, this comes down to, what's the story you're telling? Mm-hmm. And you have to be honest with what story you're telling.
Yeah.
And because as much as the black community wants us to penetrate the entire system, we ain't gonna be a part of no European World War II era London bullshit.
Yeah.
We're just not. There's not gonna be a lot of black people in there or something, especially if it's in Germany or something like that.
If you're telling specifically, if you're telling a historical story and trying to be accurate to the world events, like, yeah. You don't want to create a fabrication or an alternate reality. Unless you do, if you're making Inglourious Bastards and you're just like, fucking whatever.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about that. That's cool. I was like,
but like, if you're making Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, fuck yeah. Like, who cares?
Well, I was gonna go into something else that Disney got slammed for this, and I 100% agree with it when they made Tomorrowland. And there were, like, no black people in sight. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how dare you? Because that has been a thing in sci-fi for a long time of black people just don't exist in the future.
Totally.
And I'm like, that's actually the opposite, right? Like, the opposite is probably going to end up happening.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into any, like, conspiracy theory shit, but there's a lot of mixing going on. And that's not a bad thing at all, because barely, nobody's noticing. Mm-hmm. By the way, you're probably mixed with a lot of stuff already.
That's the thing, is that like up. It's already like it's all fake.
Yeah,
we're talking about social constructs, not anything real.
But I mean, people will get in that though.
Yeah.
I mean, despite that, like, how can we get people to think that way, but more in a longevity aspect? Because I'm 100% with this. Let's be completely honest. Insulting somebody only has temporary solutions. How can we get people to naturally think that way and say, oh, this is a good thing, even if it's for selfish reasons? This is a good thing for me.
And as far as like the solution to like, how do we get people to want diversity in their stuff? Like, I I'm pretty sure I have the solution, which is to just have diversity. Yes, brainwash them. Like this is what like how it happens. Okay. Ah, shit. I just watched something with Idris Elba in it, and Idris Elba rules. I want to make something with Idris Elba in it. But now I have a black person in my cast. Like that's how it happens.
And then you know what else happens? Other people see that, and one, they see that you're legit. I'm just speaking in terms of the black community. They're like, oh, see, this is a real one. This is why we like that kid that white kid that did the soundtrack for Black Panther. He's a real one. He actually gives a shit. I'm dead serious. That's how, I mean, I know 100% that I talk to a lot of my black friends and family, and they're like, no, I like this because this guy seems to care.
Yeah.
And then, what do you know? You start making money, and then you start making even more money. You're like, whoa, I didn't know black people liked stuff.
Yeah, wow, what a concept.
Or anybody. I didn't know Asians liked stuff.
Justin Lin is an Asian director, and he directs Better Luck Tomorrow with a primarily Asian cast. And one of the actors from it, Sung Kang, goes on to become like the breakout star of Fast and Furious. Everyone loves Han. Everyone's gaga about Han. You know, how do you get those opportunities? How do you get people into those positions? You just do it.
You know what I really like? I just want to go on a quick aside about that because I want to let you finish. But you know what I really like? The idea that all these other communities are known for doing kind of one thing or being into kind of one thing. And then they step into something else and it ends up being fantastic.
Yeah.
I know for the Asian community especially, they're known for doing a lot of historical pieces and action epics. So what is the first thing, what do they rarely are in? What are they rarely in?
Comedies.
And it's Yes, exactly. And now there's so many Asian comedies coming out, and they all look really funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. It's so refreshing to actually not only see, Asians going into that kind of stuff, but also just good comedies in general, which is what probably was needed. It just needed a fresh new take and a breath of fresh air to get us back into actually caring about, new perspective on just comedy in general. And the same thing with black people. We were always in comedies. We were always in, either the comic relief or the person that dies in serious movies. What are we rarely in? Just us. Do you know the answer? You probably do.
No, I don't know where you're...
I didn't trap you. This is not a trap.
The problem is that, like, in the world we live in now, like, I feel like there's just tons of movies and tons of genres, so I don't know which one you're angling towards.
I mean...
Action movies?
Romance.
Romance.
Romance movies. Just straight up romance movies.
Yeah.
We have been peppered into them, but we are not...
But it's rarely front and center.
Usually not the sole focus. Yeah, it's just rarely front and center. And I'm starting to see a lot of those now. Like you said, we were just talking about Kid Cudi's movie.
Yep.
That's actually a romance movie.
Intergalactic.
It's an animated romance movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, God. Like, that works on me on so many levels. It's just like, God, here's an animated movie, and it's for adults, and it's just a romance, and it's about people. And also people of color who are the people who made it. They're behind the camera. They're doing all the stuff. Like, so cool. What a treat.
Have you finally seen it?
No, I haven't. Now, I was leaving enough room for interpretation. It's on my list. It's been on my list. It's just that my brother's staying for the winter, and we've been watching a lot of dumb bullshit.
I mean, that's fine.
A lot of really bad movies.
It's gonna be there forever.
I know, but I can't wait.
It's gonna be there forever.
It's one of those things that I know for a fact, like, I'm really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, he put a lot of work into that movie. Put a lot of work into it, and it's stylish. That's what I really like about it. It is stylish as hell.
Yep.
And I was like, that is the Kid Cudi that I like, right there. This is what, to me, that elevated the movie.
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan is behind the camera now, which is great.
Yeah, more prominent black directors. There are black directors everywhere.
Sure.
To be honest.
But before
believe
it
it or
was
not, which
like
a lot of people that
what's like Spike. Oh God, I'm gonna do the Spike Jones, Spike Lee thing again. Yeah, Spike
don't
Lee.
do That's Spike Jones.
Spike Spiegel. Director Lee. Spike Spiegel. But yeah, like before it was like, oh yeah, Spike Lee, and then you know, if you're trying to like name
there's
famous
Antoine Fuqua, but like
but
a
like,
lot of people don't, unless you're into that, you don't know.
But like laymen trying to name like famous black directors, and now it's just like, oh, you got Jordan Peele, and you got Michael B. Jordan, and you got a number of others. Like we're getting more,
and they're all doing different things, and I'm glad about that. Thank you. They're all into different things, which is good. I've always said this. I've said this probably on another episode, but I will keep saying it, is I didn't like being pigeonholed into doing one thing because I was black.
Yeah.
I was into so many things, and even in college.
But all they're letting me do is hack computers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, hack computers funny. I have to be funny and hack computers, and I probably have to have an accent.
Yeah. That's called the Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain trifecta.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to say, hey, you remember when we watched that?
Hey.
Remember when I showed that to you and it's like the greatest bad
movie?
It's
so dog shit. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It rules.
It's amazing. I love it.
Watch Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain.
High Noon at Mega Mountain. Starring Hulk Hogan.
Regret it. Starring Hulk Hogan as the leader of the Power Rangers.
Yes. Yes, it is so great. Dave Dragon. That's what his name was.
Yes.
Dave Dragon in the Star Force 5.
Yes. he does the stupid thing with his fist where he counts off the like.
Yeah. Respect, courage, trust, teamwork. Yes, it's the way of the closed fist. That's what it is. The way of the closed fist. Respect, courage, trust, honor, teamwork. You'll all be heroes to me.
I've got a magical murder yo-yo. What can I do? How can I fit into that?
What can I do with this?
Yeah.
Doesn't kill anybody, but he does some like sweet yo-yo tricks.
So let's talk more. I don't know. Let's talk more about like responsibility of media. So like I listed off a couple things approximately 4 hours ago. And like another one was like how much responsibility do you have when I don't remember how I phrased it, so I'm just going to go straight into the example. 2018's Robin Hood, starring Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx. Wild fucking movie. I kind of have a great time with it. I kind of love it. But it's also it sucks.
Okay.
It's
it sucks.
Yeah, but it's so audacious. But also like incredibly irresponsible use of very loaded imagery.
Oh yeah.
The way that like the Crusades were the Iraq War, and
oh boy,
I
knew you were gonna say that.
At the end, you've got like the Black Lives Matter / Occupy Wall Street protesters wearing the bandanas, and they're going up against knights in shining armor who are dressed like riot cops, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this movie trying to say? This movie's using really loaded imagery and not saying anything. BioShock Infinite is also like the quintessential example of using really charged imagery and making really bad equivalents and not being responsible with very heavy subject matter. You know, using it in a way that I think is, if not actively damaging, at least it's really difficult for me to be charitable because it feels like the game is just being like, I don't know, oppressed people fighting against oppression is just as bad as oppressors.
Oh, yeah.
And that is like a world-class dog shit take.
Yeah, but people will say that about stuff like that, but then immediately go to Rebels Forever in Star Wars.
Completely. And like...
Yeah. And I'm like, guys... What? Like, you guys are literally kind of you're cherry picking. Let's be you're gonna be honest. You're cherry picking. You just don't like this.
I want to be really clear about my personal stance on this podcast. This is an official stance. It is morally okay to kill stormtroopers. It's they're bad people. They're bad people.
Yeah, well, the new show, Andor says otherwise. Right. You just might be a horrible person too.
I haven't seen Andor. I know that it does throw some shade, and it does try to bring maybe a more grounded perspective or some ambiguity, and talk about like
you said that. Mm. You said the magic word. You said grounded, because I've seen all of Andor. Mm. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for a lot of reasons. But one of the biggest things I enjoyed, and it comes... A lot of people talk about the last, one of the last episodes with the big monologue for the Rebel Alliance. Mm-hmm. The monologue at the funeral. And it is some good ass shit, because it can be summed up in... There's minor spoilers, but it could be summed up in one phrase. The Empire ain't shit. And I was like, thank you. Because, yes, there are people in the Empire, like regular people, mm-hmm. who do make really bad decisions and whatnot. However, it is still a choice.
And that's the thing. Like, it is always a choice. And people can be condemned for their choices. Like, if you choose to... I feel like I'm not taking a bold stance at all. If you're willingly working for the Empire, you can stop. You can choose not to.
Well, I mean, I understand that there's layers to everything, because it's like, well, I stop, I don't have income, and practical reasons.
Yeah.
Sure. However, in my opinion, you will reap what you sow every time. Anyway, that ends my rant. My Star Wars rant.
Your Andor detour.
Andor detour.
Your I was gonna say, like, your Star detour.
Star detour. Yeah, it works.
It works better on paper,
I guess. It works.
Come take a walk with me.
Let's reshot. Let's put it back in the shop.
Needs a little bit more time in the oven, but
yeah.
That actually kind of segues into, like, hey, as a creator, are you responsible for being aware of, like, the message that your media has? To which I think the answer also is yes. Because of what we were just talking about, like, I think that a real classic example that everyone has dunked on before is the hero mowing down waves of goons and then getting to the bad guy and being like, no, I won't kill you.
I can't kill you. Yeah.
Why? You just killed a bunch of guys.
You've been doing it all the other times.
Look, I know that, like, if they're stormtroopers, they're bad guys. But they are objectively less culpable than this guy. You should definitely, if you're going to kill anyone, just kill this guy. Like, if that's what your plan. Understand the moral stance of your art. Understand what your art values, and, like, be honest about it. And that
was a thing.
And that doesn't mean that you have to, like, spell everything out, or there can't be ambiguity in art. Again, I'm on record as loving ambiguous art. I love Annihilation. I love The Witch. But, like, those are not ambiguous in what they're about and about their moral stances. BioShock Infinite is ambiguous about how it feels about black people, and I don't like that.
Oh boy.
Do not like that. Don't be that. Like, have conviction, have confidence, believe in what you're saying, and know what you're saying. Because, like, I think a real great gray area is, again, talking, back to the Matrix example, like, art that can be misinterpreted. So you've got your Fight Clubs and your American History X's and your American Psychos, your media that portrays toxic masculinity in a cool, badass way before showing you that it's bad, and people somehow walking away from it with the message that, like, oh, I should be a Wolf of Wall Street. Like,
Yeah.
and I know that you can't be responsible for the audience, and I know that, like, people will willfully...
Yeah, because people are going to think about...
They'll willfully take the wrong lessons.
And that's difficult. That is very difficult to... As an artist, that is very difficult to take in, because you want to make people at certain points sometimes be like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
But you can't control people, because sometimes you say that and people will intentionally do that because they want to piss you off, because everybody isn't going to like your shit.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what's personal and what's critique. It's like, why do I have to deal with this as an artist?
I know. And I can only imagine how exhausting it has to be for, like, not just, Vince Gilligan and Bryan Cranston, but everyone involved in Breaking Bad, dealing with people who are like, Walter White is so cool and badass. And it's just like, did you watch the show?
And then everybody's like, yeah, did you watch the show? Like, and you know what? Here's the thing. We probably need to make that a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch the show?
That's going to be our first piece of merch.
Did you watch the movie?
Did you watch it? Interrobang?
Did you watch it? Yeah. Like, I'm dead serious, because a lot of problems can be solved by that question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it? Did you watch all of it?
Yeah. Did you actually read the Bible?
Oh, man. Let's not go into that. I don't want to go into a rant.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, true. That's with anything in life.
Yeah.
It seems like people just do, especially with the internet nowadays, because you can just type and have no consequence.
Yeah.
People want to act without consequence. What's the easiest way to do? Type a make a Twitter thread about something that you generally don't even care about when you think about it. But what do people do? They rile people up, and then... Yeah.
The most wild take that I've seen recently, and I can't even tell if this is parody or not. We're beyond the pale at this point.
You don't even know anymore.
Don't even know. It's Poe's Law all the way down. But there was a screenshot of someone being like, between all the woke video games that are coming out, like, is there anything that I can buy? Because, like, the Dead Space remake has a woke soundtrack. What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you okay?
What are you talking about?
Hey, man. Hey, buddy. I'm going to de-escalate this. You all right? Do you need anything? Yikes.
I mean, to be fair, we probably need to make that a shirt, too. Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Like, are you actually okay? Like, I'm kind of being serious. I'm like 50-50 on this, because I noticed, because I do that. I don't like confrontation, especially when it comes to media and stuff like that. I just don't like it, because I feel like it's not needed. There's critique. Critique is important. Mm-hmm. But why do we watch movies? Why do we play games? Why do we do any of this shit? To have the dreaded F word, fun.
I might argue semantics, but yes.
To think. What?
I might. Yeah. No, I was going to just argue semantics that, like, engagement more than fun. But, like, yes, we go there to be captivated.
I was going to go into that. Well, I was going to go into that is, in a positive light, fun is, like, can be many different things. Fun is learning. Fun is experiencing. Okay, what was the thing that we were talking about before?
Man, I don't know. As soon as I say a sentence, it leaves my brain. I'll piggyback off of what you were saying, though, about, like, different types of fun and engagement, where I don't know if this is scientific. I don't know if there's any meaningful data behind it, but, like, a vocabulary that I've heard is, type 1 fun. It is fun while you do it. Type 2 fun. It is not fun while you do it, but it is fun afterwards. Mm-hmm. Type 3 fun. It is not fun while you do it, nor is it fun afterwards.
So is it fun and then type 3, though?
The quintessential example of type 3 fun is League of Legends. But But
that's a really good example.
Like, I know. But I'm a huge fan of type 2 fun. Like, I like being challenged. I like feeling being forced to feel uncomfortable by media. I like being frustrated by stuff. Because afterwards, like in retrospect, like I have a lot of fun with that experience, and I love thinking about media, and I love talking about media, which I continue to insist. One of my positions is that like thinking about media is engaging with media, like that is part of the experience.
I want to continue with that because that goes into one of the last things I really do want to talk about, which is as the artist, as the creator, because we're talking about diversity a lot and everything too. And what is not fun to a lot of people, most people, I would say, in a creative space, if you want to make good content or something like that, is not only engaging, but basically creating something that you don't necessarily like. For example, creating characters that you would almost never associate with in or talk to or just generally wouldn't like in your media. But having the respect and decency enough to do those characters justice. And like I said, going back to Andor, it kind of dealt with that. Are you willing to kill, everybody, including kids that are on the side of, the Empire? You willing to do that?
Just to append like that last opinion, I also want to be clear. It's my moral position that it is okay to kill stormtroopers. It is also my opinion that those people almost always are also victims. You know? And yeah, it is difficult to thread that needle. But yeah. It's a real thing that like oppressors often can be victims themselves and are worthy of our understanding and our empathy, but like if you choose every day to wake up and cause harm, then
your consequences will catch up with you. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You choose to do this, somebody's gonna get you. You're gonna catch a case. You're gonna catch a body. You're gonna, and then people are gonna feel bad.
Omar coming.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. But but exactly what you said. And here's the thing about your opinion of it's still 100% good on killing stormtroopers. I'm like, as long as you realize what you're doing, and this is why soldiers deserve a lot more of our empathy, and that's why I like to see a lot of media that portrays soldiers as, actual people, because it's their job to be a soldier. So
yeah, they chose that job. They choose to do that job.
Yep, you choose it. So you choose the consequences. Everybody has choices. Everybody deals with choices. And in life, there are rarely the 100% right choice with zero negative connotations.
Correct. That gets into the good place dilemma of like how is it possible even to exist without causing harm to others? Even indirectly.
What a concept. What a concept.
Like there's no such thing as, I don't remember what the turn of phrase is. There's no such thing as like ethical consumerism.
Yeah. Which is why when I hear people, I mean, me and my wife have talked about this a lot when it comes to like capitalism. I'm like, yeah, this is why a lot of people are clarifying now too. Late stage capitalism, because capitalism in itself isn't bad, because if you buy anything, you are contributing to capitalism.
But
capitalism is an economic system.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
It
just overblown stuff will get you in trouble, like anything. So we're in that system right now where it's just like, okay, this is a little too much, and people are starting to realize it. Who knew? That's something that's gotten out of hand. It's like bad for the system, bad for the people.
Another of my official stances that you can put on a shirt is and it's not my, I didn't invent this, but like, rules must always be judged by their ability to oppress, and that goes for everything. In my tabletop games, I have a tabletop game inspired by Resident Evil, and the main characters are all playing, STARS units. That means that everyone's a cop? Like, how do I feel about that? Like, I've had a lot of, like, genuinely, like, I
never even thought about that, actually.
I don't love that. But, like, that's part of why I put my disclaimer at the front, is, like, if you're going to role play this and just be like, haha, yes, I use my authority to exercise power over, and this makes me feel cool and strong, like, that's a bad fantasy, and you should feel bad about it, and I don't want you playing that game. Like,
that's not good.
I have to be mindful of that, and I have to take steps to feel like I'm addressing that topic mindfully, not using it recklessly, not using it without understanding its history or its context or its weight. And I don't know.
I mean, I never even thought about that. That's actually really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've thought, I think too much about some of this.
I mean, that's
stuff.
in your game, though, so yeah. You're using your responsibility correctly. You're thinking about it.
I'm trying sincerely, and boy, this is like a lot of my catchphrases like coming out in quick succession. If you try and you care, that's like 80% of the work. And I feel like that I try, and I feel like that I care. I feel like I put in the work. I don't know if I succeed, but I am mindful of it. And like I've had someone comment that I had like there was a mechanic that I didn't realize like was an old timey implication, innuendo, like double meaning that I wasn't aware of the history of that turn of phrase. That was like, hey, this can be read as being like, a term for sexual assault. And I was just like, oh geez, like
I didn't know that.
That's not my intention at all.
Whoops.
Genuinely, genuine ignorance. Like I just didn't know. And yeah, I think most people would read it and not give it a second thought. And most people wouldn't read into it. But at least one person did. And that means that there's probably other people who will look into it. And so, yeah, I had a responsibility to go and rename that mechanic and change it into something that didn't carry that weight. I had to remove the riot cop knights from my from my movie. Like I was accidentally, unintentionally using, loaded language. And I had a responsibility to address that and to correct it, because I'm not Resident Evil 5. And
well, I mean, that entire game, like, well, I'm not gonna go on. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah,
there. But
that's an episode. That's genuinely a topic that I want for the future. Like, we'll talk about Resident Evil 5 someday. But but also, like, you brought up like writing unpleasant characters, writing characters that you don't agree with. That's also like weirdly relevant to tabletop stuff, because I have had to, like, I've created this villain, and now I have to pretend to be them, and I have to say mean things to the players at the table. And guys, if you have not done that, it can feel like dog shit. Like, I've had it, like, really, like, bring down my mood, like, immeasurably bring down my mood, because I'm being mean to my friends. Even if it's in fiction, like, it can suck. It can be hard.
Imagine an actor doing that. to
Yeah,
real
for
people.
And not only that, imagine, like, you know, the actor who played Joffrey, who's the most despicable little shit.
Yeah.
And then people in real life treat the actor poorly because of his portrayal
Yeah.
of this character. Like, I can't imagine, like, how awful that has to be. Because it has to be already really hard.
I'm pretty sure
to
that's why
do
he stopped
that.
acting, actually.
Yeah, he said as much. And, like, yeah, it can be fun to be a delicious ham and to, you know, cackle with glee and to shoot
Well,
lightning out of your fingertips.
A lot of
But-
people like to do that in like D&D and stuff. I see a lot of people being the quote unquote bad guy, and I'm like, you ain't bad. You're just sassy. Shut up.
Oh my
Show
God,
me
that
somebody
happens
who's
so
like,
much.
no, I'm actually a horrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Genuine evil is, like, hard to portray and hard to do because, spoiler, it's unpleasant.
yeah.
And you know, obviously you can make great stories from that and you can have great characters. But, like, as a creative person, that's something that I do personally find difficult, like, genuinely.
Well, it's the idea too. I think a lot of people are trying to step away from the this villain is just straight up a villain. They're just mean. They're just evil type thing because everything has nuance now. And I think that's what I originally wanted to talk about is, you know, villainous nuance of, you know, why is it that a lot of people are going towards the whole, this villain can be redeemed, or this villain isn't really a villain, they're just, you know, fighting the man, because that's what happens a lot. They end up just being against the system, which, to be fair, that's great, that's good. But then if everything is like that, then I'm like, you guys know there are actually horrible people in the world, right? You know there are actually evil people in the world that can be very well villains too, right? You know, that make bad decisions and deserve, you know, those consequences type thing. So...
This episode is my referendum on stormtroopers.
Okay.
Because, like, yeah, another thing about me is, like, as part of my worldview, I must believe in the possibility of redemption. You know, this is a very Waymond perspective that I have. Like, this is something that I choose to believe because I think it's important, and I think that it's something that needs to be fought for. Like, I need to believe in the possibility of redemption. And there, you know, it's morally okay to kill a stormtrooper. Hey, guess what? In the sequel trilogy, we've got Finn. How does he avoid that fate? That's simple. He stops being a stormtrooper.
Yep.
He makes the choice. Like, the possibility of redemption is always there. And
he says, this ain't right.
Chooses it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all it takes. It just takes that choice.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
stormtroopers, man. There's a lot to talk about them. Can unpack.
Well, I like the entirety of talking about the Empire anyway, because one, everybody pretty much knows Star Wars, so it's pretty easy to be like, oh, okay. It's not like we're talking about something super obscure. So everybody knows who a stormtrooper is. Everybody knows, like, the hierarchy of, you know, the Empire, which I think that's a good thing to keep going back to that because they're a classic example. Like, I'm like, you guys know there's a ultimate evil in the Empire, right? There are different levels to that, but there's an ultimate evil, and no, it's not Darth Vader. So
no, oh, that drives me nuts.
It's not
Darth Vader. Is the goon.
Yes, he's the goon.
He's the Gestapo, you know. He's the
ultimate.
Squad.
He's the ultimate. It's funny because he's technically the ultimate redemption arc. Technically speaking, you know what the ultimate evil is? The leader of the guy. I mean, the leader who doesn't seem to give a shit the entire time. He has so many times to be redeemed. And what does he do each time without hesitation? It's not even a hesitation. Without hesitation. The Emperor constantly is like, nah, bro, I like my power. I'm going to keep my power. And anybody who tries to challenge me will end up either coming to my side or dying. That is his entire arc.
That sounds like you're describing a man who needs to be thrown down a power reactor shaft.
Well, have I got news for you?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So yeah, I mean, you can do it and do it well. Everybody doesn't need to be redeemed. There are certain aspects. I mean, there are certain areas where you can do that. Here's the thing. Going back to what I was saying before, multi-level people, all different types of characters. And then you end up with something like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where everybody gets their fair shake of good and bad moments and all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
It's good.
And also, Avatar: The Last Airbender has one of my favorite tropes, which also is shared in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, though that executes it less well, which is the bad guy being presented with the option of redemption and then choosing not to.
Choosing not to. Man.
And then showing that hurts them. Like, something that I love in media, you see this in Breaking Bad, you see this in The Wire, you see this in, Avatar, but like, committing violence also hurts the perpetrator. It is a damaging thing to harm others. Like, it's a difficult thing to kill that part of empathy inside you. And I don't know, that is a struggle that I find fascinating and worthwhile to explore.
Yeah, well, it should always hurt when you have to do that. Like, going back to what I was saying about like soldiers. As soon as a soldier starts liking doing their job, it's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, but also, like, overwhelmingly, soldiers come back from war and they are not okay because
they are not okay.
Like, it violence damages the perpetrator. Violence hurts everyone involved. And this goes back to, what we were talking about in previous episodes with Arcane, and why I think Arcane is so special is because the moral of that story is, in war, everyone loses.
Yeah, a more live action example that everybody seems to love is The Winter Soldier. The very definition of PTSD. I mean,
he's not having a great time.
He's never. That's the thing. He's never having a great time. The only great time he has, and I'm about to end this. I'm gonna end this episode like this. The only time he has a great time is when he is with the black woman. I'm telling you. That's the first time he did a good, genuine smile. He's like, "Hi," and she's like, "Hey," and what's his name? Sam just looks at him. He's like, "Don't even think about it." And he's like, "Wow, I'm just trying to get with a hot young chocolate woman who is it's gonna be great. I love Wakanda. Wakanda forever, people." Nobody.
Nobody, Bucky.
Nobody, Bucky. Just
nobody,
you.
Bucky.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Oh. Going back to Wakanda where people appreciate me. Anyway, I think that might be the end of where we sit. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, constipation, of course, suggestions for a topic for an episode, send us an email at halftonetakes@gmail.com. Also, if you enjoyed listening, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts and are able to rate them. I have been Corey Revis, illustrator and comic creator. You can find me on Instagram at EARTHUR_1. That's Earther1. And where can you find this son of a bitch?
This handsome son of a bitch can be found
twisting around, okay?
This handsome son of a bitch has been Adam Bucherry. I am an animator and game designer. You can find my tabletop games at boocherry.itch.io. That is boo like ghost, cherry like fruit.
Tasty. Oh, now you made it weird. That I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
But anyway, guys.
good talk.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, Corey.
Always a pleasure, Adam. I will
Yep.
talk to you soon, and then we will discuss more things about how Star Wars is weird, but also very relevant to everyday life.
Star Wars is weird.
Star Wars is weird.
A New Hope is still the best one. Bye.
Oh, okay. Bye.
So put out.